Hey everybody, Rob Cootie here. Today is, guess what? Freelance Friday. It also means it's Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Yes, it's hard to believe that it's that time of year already, I should say a new year already. And guess what? We're going to have a short and to the point, fun Freelance Friday. We'll be going live at 11 a.m. as always, Eastern Standard Time. If you will, please share our podcast and our platforms with our fellow network marketers all across the world as we start our new year. The hashtag TheMLM Solution, hashtag TheMLM Solution. Let's give them access to this wonderful information as well. You can do that. You can have a positive impact on their life by sharing our platforms and our shows with our fellow network marketers all across the globe. That being said, I'm gonna hop off of here. We'll see you shortly. If I keep rambling on, we will not be able to get the show started. So I'm going to hop off.
Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie.
Happy New Year, Miss Marie. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Look at her. I should have done the same thing. That's awesome. Yes.
Still celebrating the new year.
Well, you know what? I have my bourbon and I did not do it, and I should have. You are awesome. Why didn't you tell me you were going to do that?
Because I like to surprise you every once
Oh,
in a
you
while.
did. I've got to catch up with your antics here, girl.
Here, I got to tell you a little story about this, though. I don't know if you can see this very well here, but this is from a glass from New Year's 2001. So 20 years ago when we started the new millennia. Of course, everybody celebrated 2000, right? Remember Y2K, and people were paranoid about what was going to happen. It's like, well, nobody starts counting at 0. You always start at 1. So we had gone to Las Vegas to celebrate New Year's in 2001. We went to one of the Cirque du Soleil shows. It might have been I don't remember which one exactly, on New Year's Eve. And they did the coolest thing. They had party hats and little splits of champagne at everybody's seat for the performance. Because by the time the performance got out, it was about midnight. So we got to celebrate New Year's with the whole Cirque du Soleil cast, which was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's hard to believe, though. That's 20 years ago already, man. It's 2021.
Unbelievable.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Yep. There we go. Happy New Year to everyone. We hope that this year will be your best ever in all aspects of life. And we hope that you'll join us as we have this wonderful journey of 2021. We all hope that it is different from last year's. What do they say? Hope springs eternal with every new year. Well, we certainly hope that 2021, Happy New Year, everyone, is going to be your year. We certainly feel that way with ours. Well, that's an interesting story. You know, when it turned the new quote unquote millennium, in other words, 99 to 2000, where were you?
I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the time. We actually did 2 big New Year's Eve parties. We did one in 1999.
So one wasn't enough. You had to do two.
Exactly. We had to do two. So we did one in 1999 because we were doing it as a practice for the 2000 celebration, right? And I remember the key part of that celebration was at midnight, we started blasting Prince's song 1999 in the house.
Yes, there we go.
You remember that song?
Yes, I do. What a great song.
What an amazing artist. You know that song came out in 1985.
I did not.
Yep. That song came out in the mid 80s. So I was always looking forward to New Year's 1999. I was going to play that song, and we did. And then in 2000, we hosted another party at our house. And we thought we'd be really funny, right? Because 2000 Y2K, everybody was concerned the clock was going to hit midnight and planes were going to fall out of the sky and power was going to go off and everything. So we joked about, wouldn't it be really funny if right at the stroke of midnight we threw the power in the whole house and turned everything off?
Now that would be funny. That is a good one.
We decided not to do that, though, because we didn't want to mess up the refrigerators and the freezers and all those types of things.
I would have done it, but yeah, I totally get it.
But it was great to talk about.
That's awesome. That is a good one. And you know what? Prince is one of the greatest performers, not just a musician, which he was a great musician as well. One of the top performers of our time, and he's under the radar.
Well, incredibly creative and forward thinking. Oh. I mean, he was very much a trendsetter, almost ahead of his time.
So. Oh, no doubt. Yeah. And his music, I mean, wow. I'm a big fan, to say the least. And it's unfortunate that drugs took his life as well. You know, we lose a lot of good ones over those stupid drugs.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, none of us last forever, right?
Well, I'd rather last longer rather than shorter.
That's true.
I'll take that.
So what'd you do to celebrate last night?
As we get older, as you know, I turned 63 in December. And as we get older, we drink in an appreciation versus fun. We're like, thank God I made it another year. So that's what we did. We did tip the glasses, but we did it in private. And we enjoyed it. It was very relaxing, but thank you for asking. But like you, I have stories as well. From 99 to 2000, I took the family, everybody, down to Disney World. And so we celebrated the ball, whatever you want to call it. Disney does it big, as you can imagine, and they certainly did it bigger with the new millennium. So we went down there as a family, and that was a really good time. Special moments.
I bet that was pretty fantastic.
It was. Yeah, they really went over the top. I mean, they do a great job normally anyway, but yeah, it was. It was quite an episode, or not episode. What do you call it?
Event.
Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. I was thinking of a grander word, but event will work. And when you were talking about going to Vegas, I'll tell this quick story. My fiance at the time took her to Vegas. I don't know if she'd ever been to Vegas before, but anyway, I used to go to Vegas a lot. But anyway, I have good friends down there. He was one of the lead computer guys for the Golden Nugget, and went there to visit him and his wife. And also, I'm not a gambler. I don't even know. I think I may have pulled one or two levers in my time. I have nothing against gambling, nothing at all. I've only been married twice. My first wife, she was one of those people. She could put a quarter into a Coke machine when they were a quarter, and glass bottles. It shows how long. But she was one of those people that would put a quarter in and get two Cokes, or put a quarter in and get a Coke and get her money back. I mean, it happened to her all the freaking time. I was amazed. And it happened to her in so many capacities in life, and she just expected it. I don't know how this works. It makes me think that biorhythms actually exist and have an impact. But every time her and I would go to Vegas, she would walk by a machine and she would stop. And I'll tell these stories quickly. And she'd turn around and she said, I want to play that machine. It didn't matter if it was a dime, a nickel, a quarter, $1 machine, it didn't matter. And I learned to say, okay. And she played a few minutes, and if it didn't hit, she'd say, all right, I'm done. And they're like, but you just barely started. She said, I know, but it should have paid off by now. I'm done. She would stand back and watch people like this. And we had a good time. We were always out and about, but she would stand and watch. And she would point over there and say, I want that machine over there. And she would wait until that person finishes, go over there. It was just amazing. I'll tell you a story about that here in a minute. But anyway, my fiance at that time, this, of course, was after my first wife. We went to Vegas, and she said, I want to see Siegfried and Roy. Well, I didn't know what in the hell that was. I had no clue. And I'm like, you want to do what? Now, I had, at that time, torn up my knee, all 5 ligaments, the patella, the meniscus, and what they call the ACL, MCL, and the patella, the PCL. Tore up all 5 of them. That's very, very rare. So I was recovering. And so she said, I want to see, we were staying at Circus that particular trip. And she said, I want to see Siegfried Roy, which is all the way down to the Mirage. So I'm hobbling my ass while she's standing in line all the way back. Now imagine me going down in broad daylight, peg leg, from Mirage to Circus to get the car and my American Express card and come all the way back, driving the car, finding a parking spot, peg legging it back in there. You know why I did all that? Because they only had 2 seats left.
Mm.
And so she had to stand there, and the only way they would hold those 2 tickets if she was standing there, and I told them we're blah, 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 and they allowed us. We got the last 2 tickets, and they were in the pit. I mean, right there. I don't know if you've ever been in there, but right there, I don't know where they did your circus. I really wasn't at the Mirage, that's for sure.
No,
Yeah, because Siegfried and Roy owned that pretty much, that stage. Anyway, you had the pit, and the stage was right there, and then the walkway was there, and then it split and went around on the right and circled around on the left. And in the pits, there was only like, I'd say probably 5 to 7 tables, right? And each table only seated like 6 people. And so then obviously these were premium seats. And so anyway, her and I are there, and I like magic, but I know it's, I wouldn't say fake, but I mean, it's a real talent to be able to pull that off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to catch these SOBs. I'm right here. They can't hide this crap from me. I'm right here. I can see what they're doing. So, you know, they put on a show as well as magic, right? They have the lions and all of that. I mean, the animals are a big part of their show, all these costumes, all this stuff. So Siegfried brings out, he was the one that was attacked by the lion. Roy is the other one, the blonde one. Siegfried was the brunette. Yeah, dark-haired one. So I may have that backwards, but I think I'm right. But anyway, he brings out this elephant. And he's walking this elephant around, and they talk the whole time. And I'm like, okay, I'm not paying attention to them because they're trying to distract me. And I'm watching everything, you know. And Grace is sitting next to me, and she's poking me like, will you stop it? And she's so enthralled with the show, you know, that she's just enjoying the moment. Not me. I'm going to catch these SOBs. I'm going to figure out how they do this stuff. So I'm sitting there, and I'm watching everything. I'm like, you know, I'm watching all the stage hands. What are they doing? Are they bringing a curtain down, or they got a floor that goes down? I'm looking for all this stuff, right? And he's walking around, and, you know, I'd glance every once in a while and look at the elephant. Okay, yeah, that's a real elephant. That ain't fake. That's definitely a real elephant. I mean, I could reach out and touch that elephant. That's how close I was to the stage. And I'm like, okay, that's a real elephant. No doubt about it. Okay, so he takes it out in the middle of the stage, right? And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm watching. And he's talking about how he's going to make this thing disappear. I'm like, hey, no freaking way. I'm on this. I am on it. There's no way he's going to get this past me. So they bring down this black curtain that covers the whole stage, right? But there's enough of the curtain. It doesn't go away the floor, you know, where it covers everything. There was enough of that where that freaking elephant, I could see that elephant's feet, right? And I could see people walking and stuff. He brings that, you know, of course, he's on the front side talking about the elephant. He's got the elephant's leash in his hand, and I can see the elephant. The elephant is not moving. I've watched the elephant walk up there. I watch the curtain come down. I'm like this. And once again, Grace is poking me saying, will you freaking stop? I'm like, no, hell no. I'm watching this. I'm going to catch. And all these other people, they were looking at me and they were looking at it like, yeah, I want to see how they do this too. So I started getting the whole table involved where everybody's watching to see how they're going to pull this off. We're sitting there and I'm down there like this and I'm looking and I'm like, I'm watching. They ain't going to get this past me. That freaking elephant did not move. And I could see all of a sudden, poof, the curtain goes up. Elephant's freaking gone. He didn't go down. He didn't go up. I have no freaking idea what they did. I know it was a trick, but to this day, I cannot tell you how they freaking did that shit. And I was so mad. I was like, how the hell did they do that? Grace was like, would you just watch the show and quit doing shit? So then I'll tell you this last thing. So then they bring out this box. It's a real tall box. It's like 6 foot tall, right? And it's real skinny. I mean, it's only like 18 inches by 18 by 18. Okay. I mean, it's 18 by 18 and 6 foot tall. So they bring this box out, and in this box, it has this line, this cutout all the way down. And in this line, it had that prickly stuff, like on the brooms, you sweep the industrial floors, had those prickly things all the way down on both sides too. And in that cutout. And that cutout was about, it was about this wide. Well, you can see the swelling of my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see a specialist. It is not getting better. It's getting worse. But anyway, the point is that thing was wide enough to where you could put a person in there in the box. So they put this girl, real pretty girl, blah, 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 blah. And they open the box up, and they stick their hands through it and they make sure that you see that it's, totally enclosed. I mean, open. There's nothing there. They stick all this stuff through it. They actually walk through it themselves. You can see, okay, there's nothing in this box. Of course, I'm enthralled. Once again, I'm doing this shit and Grace is all over my head. She's trying to enjoy the show and I'm pissing her off by trying to figure this thing out. And I'm telling her, I'm going to figure it out. I'm telling her I'm going to figure it out sooner. So they bring it around. They walk it around. That's the reason why they have that, so they can reach out to the audience. People can see that there's nothing but air in this box. So they take the box up there, they close it up, they put this girl in it, and then they close the thing. Well, her head is sticking out like this of the box. And they take her around, and she's talking to you. And she's saying, hi, how you doing? Are you enjoying the show? I mean, she is freaking talking. And then they bring her back up to the stage and they take her head and they totally turn it 360. And she's talking to you the whole freaking time. It's not like a dummy, that looked just like her. And they didn't open the doors. He didn't stop any time as they were dragging her around. And she's talking to you. And she's still talking to you. And they're taking her head and they're turning it 360 degrees. And she's talking the whole freaking time. Her lips are moving and all this stuff. And you're like, you're totally dumbfounded, right? So then I forget, then they started talking and they took her head, took the back of her head, and they went, boop, and they pushed it all the way down that freaking slit to down where her feet was. And she's down there talking to you. And she's laughing. And you're like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I mean, that's the crap that they did there. It was awesome. As you can tell, I never did figure it out. And I did have a great time, but it left an impression on me. I was like, that is freaking awesome. Isn't that amazing?
That is neat. I don't know that I've ever been to a major magic show like that.
Oh, I'll never forget that. It was worth every cent. Obviously, getting a pit thing wasn't cheap, but it was worth every cent. I was like, yes. All right. So the other part about the wife, I'll tell you this real quick too. So towards the end of our marriage, trying to save our marriage, we decided we're going to make this trip. Okay. And it was good on paper. and we got along. It wasn't like we divorced in a very, believe it or not, in a very good way. No animosity to this day. It ran its course. It was over. But we both agreed that we would make this trip. We thought, okay, we just need to spend time together, blah, 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 right? So we decided we're going to hit Vegas, Reno, and Tahoe. Okay. And we're going to do this in a weekend. Now that's a trip. I don't know if you know, but that's a heck of a freaking trip.
I was going to say, that's a lot to do in a weekend.
Oh man. And it might have been more than 3 days. I can't remember. It might have been 5 days, over 5. I cannot remember. All right. So we start in Vegas, right? And if you've been to Vegas, have you not?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Vegas is a 6-hour drive from where I am. So,
right.
yeah.
But what an awesome place, right? So we go to Vegas, right? And we start out and we come out of this food place. And back then food was cheap. I mean, we paid like $3 and had this, 4-course meal, and you were stuffed when you walked out of there, really good food. And we walk out, and right there as we walk out is a dime machine. And she stops and she looks in and says, I want to play this machine. I'm like, oh, okay. So I get her a thing, some dimes, right? She wasn't on that machine three minutes, $300. Bam. $300 in dimes. I'm like, okay, this is normal, So we cash that money in, for cash, and we go on. And I can't remember if she hit anything else in Vegas, because like she would do 5 or 6, 7, 8 machines and not hit anything, but she'd only play them like, 8 or 9 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. She would not spend a lot of time on them. She would have this feeling. I don't know how she got this feeling. She couldn't explain it to me, but she said, she would walk by it and say, I want that one, And if somebody was on it, we'd wait until they got done. She said it's ready to hit, and more times than not, it would. So I learned to trust her, and I can't remember the rest of the Vegas trip. I don't know if she hit anymore. I think there was a quarter machine where she hit 100 or 300 or something like that, or 5. I can't remember. But we basically broke even. We're not one of those people that claim. If we did make money, it ended up being free money to play. But if we did make money, it might have been a couple $100. You know what I'm saying? She didn't go there to quote unquote, and she didn't play the tables at all. It was all one-arm bandits. But our goal was not to win. Our goal was just to have a good time. Mm-hmm. I never played. I was the person that put the money in that she won. I didn't win shit. I was the opposite of her. So, and plus gambling never, even playing cards and all that, none of that ever excited me. So anyway, where did we go next? We went to Reno. Yeah, we went to Reno. My first time being in Reno, it was quite quaint. Have you ever been there?
I have. Yep.
Okay. All right. So you know what I'm talking about. So we go to Reno. We go into this, I can see it. I can't remember the name of it. And we go into this casino, and we filly-fart around for a while. And of course, we hit a bunch of different casinos, but this one in particular, she stopped. She said, I want to play this quarter machine. So we did, and she hit it. $5,000 came up on the machine. And it was one of those ones where you play 5, right? 5
mm-hmm.
quarter. It's 3 across and 2, or 3. Yeah. And then 2 across. You had to put 5 quarters in, right? I mean, you could play any of them that you wanted, but you get my point. Anyway, the lights go off and this and that, and money starts coming out. And she goes, well, how much did I win? And she never figured that shit out. She always depended on me to figure out how much she won. So I look, and I said, well, it looks like you won $5,000. Because I never paid any attention. I was always looking around at other stuff. I just let her play because that doesn't interest me. And so the pit boss comes up, and he comes up with a bucket so that she could put all this money in there. And she said, I won $5,000. And the pit boss looked at it and says, no, you didn't, honey. You only won $300 or $500 or something. She goes, no, it says 5,000. He said, no. He said, you only put 3 quarters in. You didn't put 5. You put 5 in, you'd have won 5,000. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? You're freaking kidding me. We got all the money in the world, and you put 3 quarters in. I told her, I said, why did you do that? Why would you? We got plenty of quarters, and you put 3 in. Why would you do that? Oh, so you think she learned her lesson, right? No. So then we go to Tahoe. Have you ever been to Tahoe?
I have.
Man, you've hit all of them.
I've been around.
Yes, you do. I'm going to tell you something. That's one of the most beautiful places in the world I have ever been. Of all my travels, I'll never forget coming out of the mountains. We drove from Sacramento. Or was it Bakersfield? I think it was Sacramento. There's a major road that goes from Sacramento up into the mountains. And we went to those 2-lane roads, which I got car sick. Oh my God. Anyway, we went up those 2-lane roads. And when you come out of there into the Tahoe area, I mean, that's a living postcard. I was shocked at how beautiful that place was. I was dumbfounded, to be honest with you. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And I've been so blessed to be at a bunch of them. Anyway, so we go to Tahoe. You think she learned her lesson, right? We go in there. Now she's playing the dollar machines. Okay. And she played one of these big old ones. I mean, it's like a 1930s. They keep it up. It's, nostalgia. And it's got a big old arm on it. And it's a big machine. It's like half the size. I mean, it's huge. And they had 3 of them there right next to each other. And she's putting these dollars in and she's pulling these things. And sure enough, bing, 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 bing. And everybody turns around and looks and she hits it, and I'm not thinking anything of it. I go over there and the pit boss comes over there and she's jumping up and down, $10,000, $10,000. And he looks at it and says, honey, no, you only won 5 or 100 or 1,000. I can't remember what it was, because she only put $1 in instead of 3. Now I'm pissed. I'm like, if you're going to freaking win, I mean, I can only tell stories from now to eternity about what you lost, not what you won. I told her, I said, did you realize you just gave up $15,000? Yeah, but I won $2,000. Oh, gosh. So that was that's some of my biggest stories, or my gambling stories. But she was the type of woman, man, she could pick those machines out, Miss Marie. She'd quarter machine. I'm on and on and on. That's the way her life was. Things just popped out of nowhere. If there's any such thing as biorhythm, she was a living example of it. Do you have any stories like that?
Either like luck of the Irish. Oh, sure. Yeah, I've similar. My favorite story, and this was years ago now. Usually when we go to Las Vegas, we'll do a little bit of gambling, not a whole lot. And we usually make a point of gambling at the casinos that are off the strip. So not the ones on the strip, because those machines tend to be tighter. So we were off strip. We were at one of the station casinos, I think. And it was, I don't know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So not a ton of people around, but it's Las Vegas. There's still folks around. And I usually have a very strict gambling budget, because it's essentially just throwing money away, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think I allotted myself like $5, and I was playing this nickel slot, and it was playing, so I was up and I was down, and I was, staying less than the $5. Well, I ended up jackpotting the machine.
Oh my gosh.
It's a nickel machine though, right? So I'm just like, oh, that's cool. It's gonna be like $20.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. Well, this woman who had been gambling a few machines away saw the machine light up, and she comes running over and she like gives me this big hug, and she's like, oh my God, you got a jackpot. And she's jumping up and down and clapping her hands, and she's so excited. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of fun. And then the machine stopped because it was done. And she's like, what, wait a minute. What just happened? And I was like, well, that's it. No, you got the jackpot. And I was like, yeah, but I was only playing a nickel. It was one of those you could play up to 5. Oh my gosh, she lit into me like nobody's business. What is wrong with you? You got to play. You should have won, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I was like, lady. And my whole point was, in my mind, I didn't try explaining it to her, but I was like, I had a $5 budget. I'm playing a nickel machine. Had I played 5 nickels at a time, I never would have played enough to get to the point where I jackpotted the machine. So,
yeah, exactly.
Whatever. It was fun, to say, I got a jackpot in Las Vegas. Who cares how much it was? It's a jackpot, right?
That's right. You did it. I've never done that, and you did it, and that's awesome. I totally get that. Yeah. Well, there's many stories like that. I've seen people win $10,000, no joke, Miss Marie, and put it right back in. There's so many stories like that throughout Vegas. I don't know if you know, but the Horseshoe Casino, it used to have $1 million. It had $110,000 bills in a plexiglass sheet, and you could take your pictures in front of it. And I don't know if you knew that.
Mm-mm.
Back in the day when they trusted people more. But of course, it was wired in case you messed with it. And it had a fence around it, if you will, but you could take your picture in front of it. The wife and I did. And the story behind that $1 million is this. Back in the day, there was a sheep herder from Utah, of all places. And him and his family would go to Vegas once a year at the end of some season. You know, they wrapped everything up, sold whatever it is they sold. I don't know. But they would take some of the winnings and they'd go to Vegas. You know, and that was back in the 60s when Vegas wasn't much of anything. And the Horseshoe Casino, which is on the main strip, the original strip, right across from Golden Nugget, was one of the original casinos. Well, he was a really good card player. And back in those days, they didn't have a house limit. Okay. Nobody broke the house. So he was on a run. And I think over a 3 or 4 day where he didn't sleep, he literally stayed. I don't know how the hell he did it. He was an older guy. He was in his 50s. Anyway, I think you can find this story on the internet, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, he broke the house. He won so much that the final hand was for the casino, and he won. And that was his first $1 million that he won as he broke the house. And so he immortalized that first $1 million by putting in that plexiglass. So that was the story behind that $1 million and why it was out there. Isn't that cool? So
that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So him and I don't know if they still own it. I'd be surprised if they did. That was way back when, but he ended up winning. That's the reason why house limits came along. It's because people like him, because nobody ever thought somebody would be on a roll like that.
Well, and ultimately in Vegas, the house wins, right? Eventually.
Yes. They learned the hard way over the years, you know.
All right. So funny thing is, as we're sitting here talking about, you know, all these Las Vegas stories and things like that, and the fact that it's the year 2021, 21's a blackjack, right?
Yes, it is.
So that's a winning hand.
Look at her.
I'm thinking this year is going to be a really good year. What do you think?
There you go. I love that. That's awesome. What a positive attitude. What a great mind to catch on to that 21. You are absolutely right. 21 beats 20, right?
Yeah. Anything beats 20 at this point.
But you get my point. 21. You know, they're both in the same. And guess what? 21 is better than 20. And we already know what this year's or last year was like. So 21 is definitely better all the way around. Man, it's got to be. I love it. I love it. Look at her. She is there. She is on it. Man.
Well, and here we are. It's the first day of 2021. 2020 is in the rearview mirror, and this is the first time you can legitimately say hindsight is 2020.
Man, you are right. Look at her. Look at her. I would point that. There we go. I can't use the other hand, as you can tell.
Boom. And on that note, I don't know. I think we should probably wrap this up. And
yes, I agree.
What they're celebrating.
I agree. Yes. Well, Happy New Year to everybody. It is 2021. We are so grateful that you guys are with us. We're tickled pink if you stayed with us over the past year. It's hard to believe that we've been together as long as we have. We look forward to this year. A lot of great things coming this year. We are going to be making changes this year, and we're very excited about that. We hope and pray that you guys will be with us. Help us grow our family by sharing our podcast and our social media platforms with our fellow network marketers all across the globe. Hashtag TheMLM Solution. Hashtag TheMLM Solution. That's the only promo we're going to do. We just want to make sure that all of you start out the new year in a great manner, just like us. We wish you the absolute best this year. We hope that we're part of your journey. We wish that this year will be your best year success-wise, regardless whether it's in the network marketing industry or not. And we hope that you will join us. We're really going to be doing a lot of promotions this year. We spent the last year getting the word out about who we are, what we do, what we bring to the table. I think we've done that in a first-class way. Don't you, Miss Marie?
I think so. I'm looking forward to this year. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we're going to be making a lot of offers to you guys this year so that you can utilize the great information that we have shared with you in a way unlike ever before. I truly believe, and I know she does as well, that we bring the best business building system to the table. We bring the best knowledge to the table. There's not anything that we won't talk about, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as we say all the time, which is absolutely true. You cannot find this information anywhere, and it's all designed to do one thing, to help you be the best you can be in this business model. So with that being said, Miss Maria, I think it's time to get out of here.
I think so. Happy New Year. Cheers, everyone.
That's right. Well, guys, we wish you the absolute best. Look, I got to get started. I should have had my bourbon with me. Daggone it. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always.
Thank you for listening to the MLM Solution Podcast. For more info, visit our website, TheMLM-solution.net. Please follow us on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, etc. And share this podcast with our fellow network marketers around the world by hitting the share button on our various platforms.